So we are going to start the conversation today with something a lot, maybe most women deal with, and men, but I would have to say mostly women, their body image. So let's put this into perspective. According to DoSomething.org, 91%, that's a lot, of women are unhappy with their bodies and resort to dieting to achieve an, quote, ideal body type. And that brings us to one of the big culprits for these feelings, body shaming. Actress Melanie Lynskey, who stars in the hit show Yellow Jackets, is speaking out about the comments she's getting about her body. She said the most egregious of the comments are the ones that say, quote, I care about your health, adding, quote, bleep, you don't see me on my Peloton. You don't see me running through the park with my child. Skinny does not always equal healthy, end quote. So Melanie's husband, Jason Ritter, is defending his wife, saying, quote, if anyone has any further unsolicited comments about anybody else's body, they can feel free to write them in permanent ink onto their own foreheads and swan dive directly into the sun.
Okay.
Yep. Pretty detailed, right, Erica? So what is it about these I care about your health comments that are so bad? And is it ever okay to comment about someone else's body out of concern? What would you say to that, Erica?
I feel like the health comment is very derogatory. Like, it's condescending. Like, I'm just looking out for you. Like, you ain't got nothing to look out for yourself? Like, why is that even a thing? Like, we were talking about earlier, the Uber driver who picked me up from work to take me to lunch, which is where I was going, and told me that he watches every day. He was really excited to meet me. I've gained weight. And yes, he's like, you've gained weight. And I said, yeah, if you've been watching for a few years, yeah, I have gained weight. And I proceeded to go to lunch and eat my cheeseburger very happily. I don't know what that is. It's like an over familiarity. It's just something that, like, is this the way y'all talk to each other at home? Because, like, we don't do that.
And I totally agree with everything you're saying. What do guys think about this? Because I know guys suffer from body image shaming as well, but I do think it's disproportional between men and women. But do you think it's ever okay for someone to come to you with a place of concern?
I don't mind it. And again, me and Al were talking before. We try to keep everything, this doesn't matter, men and women. I think this does matter in this particular issue. For me, it's not a big deal for me. If someone's like, step on the scale, okay. If someone's like, how old are you? Okay, I'm 43. It doesn't bother me. I don't know why people get so offended, but I think it's how they were raised or whatever contributed to that factor in their life. But I don't understand strangers commenting on total strangers' bodies and what they should do with their life. That's insane to me. That's an insane person. The question I want to get to is, how do you tell my wife? How do I tell someone I love, like, because to me, we were actually having this conversation earlier, how do I say, like, listen, if my wife, this is hypothetical, says, hey, I don't feel good about myself, I don't feel great, I'm overweight, I don't feel good day on, day in, day out, which we talk about in our house. What if I told her, hey, listen, love, if you lost 5-10 pounds, it would really, just a small amount would make a ton of difference, not only for your body image, how you view yourself, but your mental health. You'll feel a lot better. How do I say that in a way that's not disparaging to her or anyone that hears something like that?
It's such a sensitive topic.
Right?
And it shouldn't be.
Because if someone said that to me, I wouldn't be offended.
With a loved one, it shouldn't be, in my opinion, but it will be. It will cause some sort of, because I've had it in my own life, even like with like a haircut. Like, do you like my haircut? Well, maybe I like it the other. That immediately makes you feel like you're not attractive to your significant other. So even though...
And it's also something you can't change either, especially in that moment.
Right.
So
well, I gave a haircut as like a hypothetical also, but I think my rule of thumb, to your point, I think loved ones should be in a separate category, but do understand it might turn into some sort of a back and forth because it does come from such a personal defensive insecurity. But to your point, rule of thumb, if you're not going to go up to a stranger on the street and say, hey, I'm really concerned about you, you should go to your doctor and lose some weight, you shouldn't be doing that online. What is the difference?
Sam, I think it's a larger slice of the pie than that. I think it's anybody. I mean, I think your relatives, even though they love you, can do the most damage. Are you ever going to have kids? When are you guys getting married? Eric, are you gaining weight? That could come from an aunt that raised you from the crib. It's a transgressive line that you cannot say to anybody, whether it's your wife or whether it's your niece. And I think the way that you come at something like this, you don't say, let's drop 5-10 pounds, because if Jordan gets into weightlifting, or your hypothetical wife in this situation, she might gain weight because of the muscle. I think what I would do is I would say, I've been feeling stressed too. Let's just go for a hike. I personally, for me, to deal with stress, I use kettlebells because they're heavy and unpleasant, and it gets a lot of stress out from me. So I wouldn't bring weight into it at all, or looks or anything. It's just like if you're at a party and somebody goes, Jeff, dude, the flyer said don't wear blue. Well, you're here now.
Right.
So now you're going to feel terrible all night. There's something that you can't change.
This is classic projection at the root of it.
Oh,
because if you are going online or walking up to someone, this is more about how that person is reflecting back on you and making you feel.
Yes.
Weight or the way that they look, their body, whatever, may not be a priority for them, but you are indicating that it was a priority for you. And now you want your priority to become their priority to make you more comfortable.
Spot on. And this brings us to another part of the conversation. Is it ever okay to tell someone to cover up? Okay, so Madonna, who's no stranger to revealing photos, posted a series of pics to Instagram posing with a car. Some are saying, or some are so racy we had to censor them for daytime television. Well, singer Nelly commented.
Her keys in there?
Singer Nelly commented saying some things should be covered up. So is it ever okay to tell someone to cover up? And what are these types of comments appropriate or not? Is it ever okay? Let's put the strangers aside, right? Because I think we've all come to an agreement that if you don't know someone, just stay off their page if you don't have something nice to say. What do you do? Would you ever say this to someone that you love?
I didn't know Nelly when he told us all to take off all of our clothes, and everybody was fine with that.
It's getting hot in here.
So why was that okay? And then him telling Madonna to cover up. If he made a song saying, young ladies, y'all need to cover up, that would have been met with some pushback, probably. Maybe it was a different era, but if he made that song now, it'd be a problem. But telling people to take off all their clothes because it's getting hot and sexy in here, everybody's like, you know what, he's right. So what are we talking about here? Or except like the complexities of the human mind.
But could you tell your partner, would you ever feel comfortable telling Jordan cover up?
Yeah. I would if she was wearing something very revealing and it wasn't a big event like that. Say we're at a corner bar, I'd be like, what are you doing? These banana heads are wasted over here and they're gawking at you. You like, put something on, so it doesn't cause a problem, not because I'm embarrassed in any way, right? All these things are little things that happen in my reality, right? So when I say that, like, Jordan, if you want to lose weight, let's lose it together. I cook in my family. So I'm like, listen, I'll go get some fish tonight or I'll get a salad. So there's nuances to the conversation. It's not a one-size-fits-all. And everyone's like, how dare he talk to his wife? How dare he tell his wife to cover up? There's certain situations where maybe you have to say things like this.
Okay, I was on the fence about what you were saying earlier, but I do have to admit, this actually happened with us. We have a friend, and Jeff and I were telling her that what she was wearing to where we were going, that she should put something else on based on where we were going because we knew that it was kind of a seedy situation.
Right.
And I was like, I don't want to ever be the one to say this, but I don't want you to get followed home. Like, this is not that type of party. So
how did she respond really quickly?
She put something else on, and then when we got there, she thanked us for saying that.
There you go. But there's nuance.
Absolutely.
Yes.